Are you tired of boring podcasts? Are you tired of paneled and structured podcasts that make you want to watch paint dry? Do you want to listen to an adult-oriented show? Do you want to hear words like or personal favorite, juggling thunder?
Droids Podcast. Offensive and off-topic since 2012. Insert unnecessary explosion.
What the? Come on, god damn it. Hold on. And... Oh shit!
Michael Bay!
To get radioactive treatment, go see your local physician after listening to this podcast. To listen to further podcasts, go to droidscanada.com.
Artificial fear.
Episode 183 of the Droids Podcast, and it's a Walking Dead episode. Another episode in the books. And this episode's called Remember. What did we remember from this episode?
They remembered something?
That's the name of the episode. It was written by Greg Nicotero. So...
Usually at Nicotero, I would assume zombie killing.
There was some zombie skin flesh ripping.
No, like 4 or 5 maybe.
But there was the zombie skip. They literally
that was different. Yeah,
was different. You know, just gonna wear his skin like a I don't know, like a nice bathrobe, perhaps.
Maybe.
Ugh. He wasn't a pretty looking zombie either. It was kind of morbid. So
he'd wear his face for a hat.
We're in Alexandria now.
Yay?
Yay. And we meet the Congresswoman. You know, I'm pretty sure it was a dude in a comic book, but, you know, we gotta change things gender-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that conversation?
Yeah.
We already had it a few times.
A couple times.
Oh, wow. I'm yawning too.
That was my fault.
That's your fault.
My fault.
Oh, this is our 5th podcast today.
Yeah. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day.
3 hours of sleep.
Well, that's your fault.
That's my own fault. I admit.
Fault.
Video games, it happens.
Video games and whatever creepy other shit that you do when you're not here with me. I don't know what you do. But this episode wasn't too bad. A lot of background story, which wasn't bad backstory. It was very... I don't want to say fulfilling, because that's not what it was, but...
It built up Alexandria and kind of what it was about. You know, they get 2 homes between the crew at that point. They of course all, you know, squat in one because they don't want to, you know, split up, and that's fine. They're still skeptical.
Skeptical is the understatement, because Daryl is the only person appears to be not participating in any of the situation whatsoever.
Yeah, you've got
doing the lone wolf.
Yeah, well, he's always been that way. Like, he's just kind of, he's there. I don't think he feels that he's still like he's never been a full-fledged member. He is a member of the group, but he's never felt that way himself.
Right.
He's always kind of the loner on the outside. He's always doing certain things his way still. And at this point, everyone else is off doing their own thing. You know, Rick's settling in a lot quicker than I had figured. Michonne is fitting in, apparently. Carol
is blending in. Blending.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's go back to the moment of horror. You look so upset. It was dark. It was a very dark period in the MountainMan's life. As he watched...
I felt like I lost a brother.
It's like we literally watched someone get disemboweled in front of us as Rick shaved off his beard.
He's dead to me.
It's going to grow back. I promise you it's going to grow back and fiercer than ever before.
I had competition. It's gone.
He will grow. It will grow. Don't you worry. It's like Miracle Grow for him. It will grow right back. I never was a huge fan of Andrew Lincoln's babyface look. It just does not look good on him whatsoever. I would say maybe season 3 Rick when he's got the sun, like the beard, but it's not out of control. Like, season 5 is I'm Crazy Beard. I call that Crazy Beard.
Yeah, I give no fucks beard.
It's got its own soundtrack done by Gnarls Barkley. That's how Beard is.
Crazy?
Crazy. Oh, yeah. It's that crazy. Yeah, it's either... Ha ha ha! Bumping taco!
Oh, yeah.
In this episode, the Congresswoman...
Yes. Congressperson?
Person, because she was a state official for... Ohio.
That's why you keep me around.
She interviewed everybody...
And videotaped
it. And it was kind of funny because Daryl's interview was hilarious. Because all you were looking at was the whole, he's got the possum by its tail. It's like hooked like an umbrella.
It was hilarious because, of course, when they open the gates and they walk in, the one line that Daryl gives is, I've got dinner, because he'd recently just shot a possum. And at that point, he's in this interview, and he's still got the possum in his hand. But you look at the tail, and it's curled, and it's stiff. Now, of course, rigor, obviously, it probably set in at that point.
Obviously, it's been dead for a while.
It's been dead probably, for, definitely a couple of hours probably at that point. But literally, it looked like he was walking around with a possum-covered umbrella.
Yeah, I've never seen a possum umbrella before. We can strike that one off the list.
Yeah.
But there was, no real character development beyond Rick... and Coral. No, and Michonne had a little bit, just a glimmer. But, Daryl saeems to be slowly fading in the background. But I have a feeling the next episode he's going to come back forward, which we'll get to in a minute. But all the other characters kind of you saw really nothing with Abraham or Eugene
Rosalita. No, nothing with them.
Glenn. We're going to get to that part now. So Glenn, the girl...
Noah...
No, and Tara. That's her name, because we couldn't remember her name because we knew she was a lesbian, which goes back on our gay our gay episode. That just doesn't sound happy at all.
No.
It doesn't sound merry. No. And
they meet Aiden, and I don't know what the other guy's name was. Aiden being the congressperson's son.
Yes.
And the leader of these supply runs.
Right.
They kind of show him the ropes, and they hand him some pistols. They kind of show the ropes of what they do and how they're spreading out and going in.
Seem to be off to a good start.
Seem to be all right. And they seem to be playing along quite well until they talk about this ritual and this walker they have tied up because it had killed 4.
Yeah, it killed
4 of their supply people.
Yeah.
So basically they had a ritual which they probably had taken pokes at because, if I remember right, Aiden had a bayonet on his gun.
Yep.
So it looked like they taking a few pokes at this zombie.
It seemed pretty stupid to me and redundant.
Yeah. Eventually the zombie has gotten loose,
It makes sense to me. I'm sure that would happen in a post-apocalyptic world eventually. Someone will be looking at some way to get, I wouldn't say gain back to humanity, but to justify their actions. It almost cost them the life of Tara. Almost cost him the life of Aiden himself.
Yeah.
Over something really stupid. We literally watched Tara try to pull the zombie off the guy and tore the zombie's back flesh.
or what's left of it.
Right off the skeleton of this zombie. And it was kind of hilarious in one hand because this all could have been avoided if you just put a bullet in the zombie's brain, like originally they wanted to, and it would have been done with it. But I'm sure there's going to be more to that storyline in the next episode or two.
And it leads to, they get back. Aiden doesn't want them, on supply runs. You got to find a new deal.
And then we see an epic punch by Glenn.
Yeah. And
what the fuck?
All of a sudden, he basically
Ali
tells
and Foreman
him to back off.
Zaire, what happened there? Rope-a-dope?
Thrilla in Manila.
Holy shit.
I was kind of...
It was an MMA knockout we just watched there. Literally. And then Daryl with the spear.
And Deanna was like, thank you for putting him on his ass. All right. Good deal.
She's kind of shifty, though. She's not sitting with me well.
Well, you've got a better idea because
I don't know now because they kind of twerked that around a little bit.
Okay, so they made her a chick.
No, they changed her a little bit more. It was...
It's been a while. Have an idea.
They more or less made Rick there was no real background. It's been a while, but there was really no background check. It was just more like, oh, you were a cop before? Good, we need a cop. Throw the badge at him, send him on his way.
Yeah, but I think it's more than that.
Now it is in the episode. I'm talking about the comic book. That's kind of just go to it and go. And now it's just no, we're gonna give everyone a plan, and Michonne's gonna be a deputy.
Yeah,
it's okay. not someone I would. And Carol is undercover.
Yeah. That was quite
weird.
funny. I was like, she sit there and she goes into this.
Daryl had the
Deanna.
best what the fuck face I've ever seen in my life.
Carol goes into this little interview with Deanna, and she's all happy about how she always used to put dinner on the table for Ed, and everything was so happy and lucky. I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't he abusive fuck?
He was.
And I'm like, wait a second. And then all of a sudden, she's like, she wants to get into the junior league or whatever they've got. And you realize she's just putting on appearances, and she comes out in this like June Cleaver outfit from fucking Leave It to Beaver from 30, 40 years ago. And Daryl's got the best what the fuck look on his face.
It was like priceless.
I was like, oh my god.
He's the only one that has not showered. Everyone else got a haircut, new clothes, or the clothes got washed or whatever.
Hey, Eugene never got no haircut. Mullet is fully active.
The mullet's what gives him power.
That's right. And that's why Rick has no power now. Beard is gone.
Beard is gone. Got a haircut as well. So he's back to season 1 Rick. It took him 4 seasons to get that beard so seasoned.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha, pun.
Bad.
It was a good pun, believe it or not. And they shaved it all off. But just when you're sitting down going, maybe this is finally the place, Rick still is not sold.
No.
They're not sold whatsoever.
There's that scene with him and Michonne at the window.
Yeah.
And he calls her out. Basically saying, I get why I'm, still skeptical, but you're all about this. And it's like, well, then why are you up at night now, too?
Yeah.
Calls her on not being comfortable.
It takes a lot to be comfortable. Like, you gotta understand how many times have they tried settling and it backfired. Like Herschel's farm and the prison.
3.
Yeah.
Farm, prison, Woodbury.
It just never seemed to finally...
the church.
The church, technically, yeah. Like, every time they finally thought they can have a breather, there was always something. Terminus.
Well, Terminus really...
They didn't have much of a stay, but I mean, they went into They went into thinking that would be a breather. Like, it seems like their characters finally get to a certain point when they can finally take that breath of fresh air and relax, and then boom, butt fucked in front of everybody. Like, that's the crudest way to put it, but I mean...
Yeah, pretty much it, yeah.
Because, child rape's okay, but gay people...
but we're gonna fuck you slow.
Rape is okay, but gay people kissing is...
No. Let's not... We already ranted about that already. Let's not do it again.
We saw Rick's butt, so I'm surprised there's gonna be some tweets about that.
There might be some tweets about...
that his butt was out of control, his ass was too white.
Yep.
It was too white, it offended me.
I'm offended, you're offended.
No, you're upset that he shaved his beard off.
Yes,
I was waiting for the... It reminded me of that stupid Heritage commercial with the Indian that had the single solitary tear crawl down his face. I thought that was going to happen to you.
No.
I thought you were going to shed a tear from that beard. That beard had power. You respected his beard.
I respected the beard.
You don't respect the beard that's not there no more. So now that is a problem.
Can't respect what is not there.
That is very true. So where do you think we're going to go? We saw the preview for next week, and Rick is still skeptical.
Well, it depends on where that's taking the episode. Obviously, probably pretty early. You see Daryl out with Aaron.
Yes.
And obviously
he's following Daryl, and
Daryl catches him.
And then they get under attack, but you can't tell by who.
Yeah.
But, this reminds me of one thing. The Exiles.
What?
The Exiles. The congressman.
Yes.
And
mentions she exiled 3 men.
And I was just... And you know what? I hate the internet for this. And it's funny because... As I was saying to him earlier, it's that the people that post about, this thing happened on The Walking Dead, blah, 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 and they write this huge thing on their Facebook about it, it's the same people that bitch when other people do it, and I find it funny. Hypocrite. Hashtag hypocrite.
Oh,
that's right. Made it a Twitter trend. They seem to believe that's good. Negan is one of the 3 exiles. I don't recall specifically. That there was been 137 issues of The Walking Dead, so it's kind of hard.
Is that what they're at, 137?
Yeah, 138 should be out this week or next week, which incorporates in a lot of different interesting characters, which hopefully it doesn't go that far. But Alexandria, they had up a couple good issues in there. They weren't there too long, but they built a lot of more characters, and obviously more people came along, and that's where it leads to the epic storyline, which everyone is waiting, and I've been waiting since the beginning of the season, is Negan.
Well, you're going to have to wait probably 4 episodes.
It's based by that, yeah, because we actually have the episode list up right now, because this episode was Remember, next episode's Forget, next one's Spend, the one after that's Try, and then the last one's Conquer.
Gee, I wonder what's going to happen there.
But that's March 29th. That's WrestleMania weekend.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to have to not watch the pay-per-view I wasn't going to watch anyways and watch The Walking Dead.
At that point...
Makes perfect sense to me. And it's Greg Nicotero that's doing that one again, too. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of zombie killing.
Well, not necessarily, but there'll be, some good lineup there, I'm sure.
So overall, this wasn't really that bad of an episode.
No,
it's more story-driven, I would say.
Well, there wasn't much killing.
There was some interesting killing. But the gun.
Oh, yes.
The gun. The gun. How did we forget about the gun?
Rick takes a step back outside the wall, goes back to the hiding place of where he had stashed the gun.
Yep.
In the blender.
It is not
there. It is not there.
And then we had a huge conversation about that last week, and I totally forgot about that. I'm like, whose gun is this? It has the letter J on that.
Yeah.
We really dove into that one, trying to figure it out. And
at this point now it'll be interesting because it did have that distinctive mark.
Yeah.
And at that point, I have a feeling in the next episode or three. I don't think it'll come down to the final episode, but it may at that point. You never know, but I think it's just going to be over the course of the next three. They go find out who has it.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, and I guess what's kind of funny is that how Rick didn't even care that Carl was outside of the fence.
All of a sudden, he checks to see the gun, it's not there, and it's like...
you're right here? Oh, shit.
Here.
Shit. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, let's kill these, 4 zombies that are, right here.
Be the pull there. I need to skull fuck a zombie with this giant fucking metal rod.
Yeah, and that was the one thing I didn't quite... I don't know why it was in there. Rick, all of a sudden, they're being attacked. They kill, 3 or 4?
Well, because Carl was chasing that girl outside the fence.
And he loses her.
Yeah. Which we don't understand what happened there either, because she was back at the fence, too, when everything went down between the battle between Glenn and Aiden. But it was just weird because, you're here. That's all it was. It was like, wow.
But then right at the end, the one walker comes out from the pile of trash.
Yeah.
Grabs Rick's leg, paws at him a bit. He grabs a pipe, like a 4 or 5 foot pipe, and is about to stab him in the head, and Carl's like, no, let me do it. I don't know why that's necessarily there.
Father-son bonding.
Oh, are they bonding and killing again? Bonding in death? Okay.
With head sodomy. Oh, shit, that's dark.
No, he doesn't recognize Rick anymore.
Maybe
no beard. He's like, who's this guy? That's right, you're my dad.
This is Farquaad. We'll call him Farquaad. His new name is Farquaad. But that's all I got for The Walking Dead. You got anything you want to add to this episode?
No, I'm good for today.
All right. Chimichanga. I'm done. Done.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Thanks for listening to the Droids We're Looking For podcast. Stay tuned for next week's podcast.
Remember, the Force will be with you always.